Hi everyone, and welcome back to our channel, or welcome to our channel if you're new here. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to make this pineapple upside down cake or pineapple turnover cake, whatever you'd like to call it. So we basically made this very caramelized, rich, very spongy cake with pineapples and cherries on the bottom where you flip it over and it becomes the top. So if you'd like to see how to make this, then please keep on watching. Alright, so first we're going to start off with our ingredients. So first you're going to need 1.5 cups of flour. You're also going to need 3/4 cup of pineapple juice or pineapple coconut juice. In this case, pineapple coconut juice was the only juice that we had, so we decided to work with this, and it comes out very well with this juice, so we highly recommend it. Next, you're also going to need 1 cup of brown sugar. You're also going to need 1.5 sticks of butter. You're also going to need 2 eggs, and of course you're going to need pineapple slices. Now, depending on how large of a cake you're going to make, you're going to need to average the amount of slices. In our case, our cake was kind of smaller, so we decided to use 8 slices. You'll also need some cherries or any other garnishes to put on top. Alright, so in terms of seasoning, you're going to need 1 tablespoon of vanilla essence, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of grated nutmeg, a teaspoon of salt, and of course a teaspoon of baking powder. Alright, so now we're going to start prepping our cake batter. So you're going to first add in your room temperature butter into a clean bowl. And then you're going to add half a cup of brown sugar to that. And then we're going to mix this together, and you want to mix this until all of the granulated pieces of sugar are smoothly incorporated into the butter. Alright, and this is what it should look like once you're finished mixing it. It should have a really smooth consistency, and you want to minimize as many of those sugar grains as possible. And you can see that it's quite fluffy as well. You're going to mix it for about 5 minutes. That's how long we mixed it until we got it to this consistency. Alright, so now we're going to start adding in our other ingredients. So we're going to add in eggs. And there goes the second one. And then of course we're going to mix this in once again. You want to mix this until everything is evenly coated throughout the batter. And now we're going to move on to the dry ingredients. So we're going to take our flour and add that salt to it. You're also going to add in baking powder. You're then going to add in your nutmeg, and then of course your cinnamon. And you're just going to mix this together with either a fork, spoon, anything that's dry, because you don't want this to get wet as of yet. Now that our flour is prepped, we're going to go back to our cake batter and add in our vanilla essence. And then we're going to mix that once again. And we're just getting this prepared so that we can add in that flour mixture that we made earlier. And as a great segue, we are going to add in that flour mixture. And you're going to add it in gradually. You don't want to add in all of it at once. And you just want to fold that in with a spatula, or you can even do that with a spoon or even by hand. And now we're going to add our pineapple coconut juice, and we found that this gave it a really unique taste, so we highly recommend using this as opposed to regular pineapple juice. And now that we folded some of that in, we're just going to add a little bit more of that juice. Now the reason we're not adding it all at once is that you want to add in a little bit, see how the consistency of the batter comes to, and then keep adding as much as you need. A great way to tell is if the spatula you're using is sticking straight up inside the batter. Okay, and this is the pan that we're using, and we're just going to line that pan with some butter. And you want to make sure you're getting all of the corners on this. This is just going to help it make it a lot easier for you to flip the cake once it's completely cooked. and it also helps when you are trying to caramelize the bottom, or in this case the top of the cake. So you're going to add the remaining brown sugar that you have left over, and as you can see, once you add that brown sugar in there, it's starting to stick to the butter, and that's exactly what you want. What this does is that it's going to caramelize at the bottom of the cake, so when you do flip it over, it's going to have a really nice glazed top, and it also helps the pineapples stick a little better on top of the cake. So now we're going to add our pineapple slices. Now remember that I'm calling this the top of the cake because we are flipping this over once it's cooked. So this may seem like the bottom right now, but it's going to be the top of the cake. So we're adding in all those slices, and you can add or take away slices depending on how big your pan is. And we're just adding in some cherries in the middle as a garnish. You can add whatever you like. You can also switch this up, and instead of using pineapples, you can use any other fruits as well. Okay, and you can see here that we're adding another pan at the bottom here, and that's just going to save it from any drippings that are coming out of the side of the pan. We're also adding a little more brown sugar on the top because you want to make sure that this tries to stick as much as possible to the cake and caramelize very nicely. We're also adding in some butter in between to help caramelize the sugar, and this also helps because as the bottom of the cake has enough butter, but you do need some of that on the top to help caramelize in between. And then you're of course going to add the batter on top. So you don't worry about how you add this in, just kind of add it straight in there. You can always even it out afterwards. And now we're just going to even this out. Now, of course, you don't need to add any decorations at the top of this because this is actually going to be the bottom of the cake. But if you do want to add anything to it, of course you can. This would be the opportune moment to do so. Alright, so now you're going to put this in the oven to bake for 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about an hour. And you're also going to keep checking it to make sure that doesn't overcook. Now, as you can see here, we're checking our cake. It should look something like this. We use the toothpick to test and see if anything came off on the toothpick, and it was completely clean. You're also going to start lining the edges so that you can get the cake out easier. Now, depending on the pan that you use, it might be different how you flip this cake over. In our case, we used the plate that we were going to plate it on, and we tried flipping it over. Now, you're not going to get this the first try, we never do, but you can just try as best as you can and take your time when flipping it over. And as you can see here, our cake is completely flipped over. Now, one thing to be careful of if you do have a pan like ours, all of the pineapples may still stick to the bottom of the pan, so you want to be careful of how you flip up this piece of the pan. And you'll see here that all the pineapples aren't exactly in the place that they were originally in, but you can always move them back to their original spot. So this is the final recipe completed, and as you can see on the side here, we showed a little clip of us cutting into the cake. You can see how soft it is. It didn't even last a day. It was so delicious, and it's a really versatile cake. You can add all kinds of different fruits rather than just pineapples. You can see that the top has that really nice caramelized effect to it, and it's almost like a sponge cake on the inside. So we really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to comment down below what you thought of this video and other videos on our channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos almost every week. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.